Oh, as we all get quiet then. But Lisa, we're so happy to have you here today. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
I'm excited to get to be here too. Thank y'all for having me.
Well, we know you always have good information too. So I'm really excited to hear that because that's something a lot of people struggle with. And I know you've got great tips and hints and ways they can maximize everything.
Well, thank you. That's so kind of you to say.
Oh, you bet. And you look great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So those
I'm so relaxed on the beach.
Yeah, I guess it would do us all good, huh? Have a morning on the beach.
Yeah.
I see a few heads nodding there.
Okay, so well, hopefully we're live. It looks like we're live on Facebook. Of course, how you connected to it was completely different than we've done in the past, but that's okay. We're rolling with it.
That's the beauty of social media, Zoom, everything changing and updating.
It actually was much easier, so that was a good thing.
Oh, yeah, easier is always better. All right, well, I show 7:59. We are almost ready to get started. We're so happy to have everybody here this morning and see so many familiar faces and new faces as well. All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Irby, and I'm the director at Texas Women's University Center for Women Entrepreneurs. We're so happy to have all of you online today. For those of you that aren't familiar with our center, the Center for Women Entrepreneurs was funded in 2015 by the state legislature just to help promote women entrepreneurs anywhere in the state of Texas. And you don't have to be affiliated with our university to take advantage of what we have to offer. We help women through small business advising, funding. We have several different grant programs, networking events, and trainings. So we are part of a much larger organization, the Jane Nelson Institute for Women's Leadership. They are preparing women to take on successful roles in business and public service. So we're glad all of you are here today. On our team, we have Lissa Stinyer, who will be taking questions. You can send those to her privately through the chat. We also have our new small business advisor, Justina Shaw. We're so happy to have her. And Samantha Farmer is usually over watching our Facebook page. So welcome all of you. We're so glad you're here today. Well, I have to tell you, I am really excited to introduce this speaker. I've known Lisa, I don't know, maybe 10 years now. And she always has such great information. So Lissa Duty is a branding and digital marketing strategist. She's the author of 2 social media books. She has written countless articles and guides, some of which are published under the names of others. Her digital marketing agency, Rocks Digital Marketing, helps businesses to rank in the top of search results. Web development, local SEO, and Google My Business optimization are only a few of the services the agency performs each day. In addition, Lissa is founder of one of the largest digital marketing conferences in Texas, the Rocks Digital Marketing Conference. And I've been 6 or 7, I think. I've lost count. From advising to implementing, Lissa is the digital marketing pro every business wants on their speed dial. So Lissa, welcome.
Thank y'all for having me today. And wow, that's quite the intro. You know, even though I have that super long bio, it's like, as y'all read it, I think, man, I need to shorten that thing. Thank y'all so much for having me. And I'm really looking forward to talking with y'all today about expanding your online footprint locally. It's so important for business owners. And the fact is, if you can't reach your audience local, you just can't reach them. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing my screen so y'all can see my presentation. I do want to let y'all know that if I turn my video off, it's because I'm having internet issues and I don't want to interrupt the audio, just to give y'all a heads up. So if that happens, you'll know why. So here we are. Can everybody see my screen? My PowerPoint went ahead.
Nope, we just see you.
You just see me.
I
Okay.
just see you.
You and the beach.
You look great though.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Let's see here. We'll try this again.
There you go. Yeah.
Now y'all are
Perfect.
seeing my screen. Okay. Okay. Let me start this over. Okay. So this is a little bit about me. I'm going to move a few things out of my way here. This is a little bit about me. Here's my fancy cover. As y'all can see, I have an amazing graphic artist. So we are going to cover, first off, I want to tell y'all all, I love to give people bonuses. I love to give things away. So for those of y'all that stay till the very, very, very end, I'm going to have a bonus for you. And it's a self-assessment, how y'all can all evaluate your own online presence. So got to stay to the end, everybody. Okay, so we're going to talk about why local matters. We're going to talk about local ranking factors, Google My Business's role in that. We're going to talk about citations and NAB consistency. And a citation, by the way, is any mention of your business online or offline. However, a lot of citations will include, hopefully, the business's address and phone number, and hopefully a link to their website in addition to just the business name. However, a mention, a link in an article with your name is also citation or in print. So we're going to talk about reviews and their impact on local. We're going to talk about the role that your website plays. It's extremely important. And then, and we're just going to get right into it. So first, why does local matter? And I'm sorry, guys, I got to minimize this here. Okay, there. Now I can see. Why does local matter? Well, the fact is 92.6% of all internet searches today, they begin with Google. I mean, you can't get past it. Local, Google matters. It's important. And local is a big component of that. One thing that y'all might not realize is whenever you run a search from your mobile phone, that search is based on proximity to the business and to your location where you're at when you're running the search. That's why local is so important. In fact, 46% of all searches today, they are seeking local information. So if you're not getting found locally, then they're just not finding you most of the time. So let me dig into local ranking factors a little bit so y'all can understand this. So there's a group of experts that it's about every 2 years, White Spark conducts a survey and they go in and they evaluate what is impacting how businesses are showing up in search. And so this is the scale for that. So personalization is an important part of that. That's like cookies, tracking pixels, that kind of thing. On-page signals, which is actually the content on your business websites, where you have it, the placement, what kind of title tags you have wrapped around it. I know I'm speaking a lot of geek, and I'll explain this more as we get along. Link signals, which are links from other places that are mentioning your business, that are linking to your website, that are actually authoritative. And then review signals. Review signals is extremely powerful. So that is positive reviews about your business. In fact, if nowadays, and I have some specific stats on this, I'll show you a little bit later, but the fact is if you don't have positive reviews, and I know negative reviews, that scares everybody, like, oh, I don't want to have a negative review. Well, the fact is negative reviews are part of life. And if you actually don't have a couple of negative ones, people sometimes will not trust you because of that. Citation signals, which I mentioned earlier, that's 7%. Those are listings on the different kinds of directories. Now look at this for Google My Business, 33%. So if you don't have a well-optimized Google My Business listing, and I'm going to show y'all what that looks like, actually the next component of that, if I don't have a well-optimized Google My Business listing, then a lot of times you're not going to rank in the local pack, which is the top 3 search results with a map above it in desktop search, and then in mobile search also it's at the top. It has a little map. That's called the local pack. You're not going to rank if you don't have a really good Google My Business listing. People aren't going to find you. Then behavioral signals, that's the activity of the user and the kind of things that they seek and they're looking for. That's a strong part of the local ranking factor also. But I really want y'all to pay attention today. And the main things we're going to talk about is the Google My Business, citation signals, review signals, and on page. Okay, so let's get into Google My Business here. I can get my slides to advance or being stubborn. Okay, so This is an example of a well-optimized Google My Business listing. I want you to notice it has the business's address here, their hours when this screenshot was taken, they were closing soon. Look at this product section that they have here. Okay, they have their products listed here. They have other categories for their products. This is an example of a well-optimized business listing. So let me go through some of the other components with you. Here's a drilled in approach, and I want you to see here these attributes that the business has. This talks about their safety protocols, what kind of, and people are looking for these because of COVID. They want to know how this business is handling customers coming in. And so it's very important to have attributes in here. Also, there's some other kind of attributes that you can add to your Google My Business listing, such as if you're women-led, if you are LGBTQ friendly, if you're veteran owned, there's other kinds of attributes too. These are just a few of them that I wanted to show y'all, but it's very important that you'll have your attributes added to your Google My Business listing. And it's really simple to do, and it's really powerful. For example, if we have any doctors on here today, if you have a medical practice and people can book appointments online, you can talk about that. If you offer online care, all of these actually help your Google My Business listing to stand out in search. And it also helps the search engines and consumers to understand more about your business. Here's an example of the products in an expanded view. This is from a different business listing, but you can see this is very informative, visual. It has nice graphics with it. And when you click into these, there's actual descriptions of each service. Now, the reason that having product descriptions are very important in your Google My Business listing is, one, it helps the consumer to understand more about the specific products you offer, but it also helps Google to show your Google My Business listing for specific search queries. Also, you can have a link to your actual website. You can see here there's a link, learn more link, and this actually gets the opportunity to take traffic from search in maps or in desktop searches and take the consumer to your actual website, and that is extremely powerful also. So here's an example of services. As you can see, here's another Google My Business listing, and this one has services added. So the reason I'm showing you a mobile view with this one is right now, services are actually only visible on mobile. They're not actually getting seen in desktop search, but this is really powerful too. Just again, another way for people that are actually looking at your Google My Business listing to determine if they want to go to you or hire your competition. And I don't know the exact makeup of the audience today. I would actually love to see a little bit of that. If y'all wanted to chat in here for me and just tell me what kind of businesses that you own, that would be so awesome. I see a few people dropping in here. Just drop in there real quickly for me. What kind of businesses y'all have so I can see that. Ooh, we got a wedding planner, virtual assistant, Christian counseling, awesome interior design. The attributes are really, really important for you, for your counseling office, home-based agency, corporate training, freight broker. Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that with me. That really helps me along the way as I'm talking. So it's really important that you thoroughly optimize each component of your Google My Business listing, because in fact, when you really optimize your listing, it's a great way for you to stand out from your competition. And a lot of times competition doesn't even actually completely optimize your Google My Business listing. Here's another example. I want you to notice on this one, I want you to notice the reviews here. Do you see this one? This business has 1,573 reviews, and their star rating is 4.7. So your star rating on your Google My Business listing is also extremely important, as it helps your business listing to show up above the competitors in the local pack. And when somebody clicks that little see more, it takes them into maps. You'll still be at the top versus on the bottom. It's really important that you go ahead and make sure you get reviews. Here's an example of an optimized Google My Business description. It's very important that you have an optimized Google My Business description in here. And you want to have your keywords in it. And also what you do. So you don't want it to be stuffed with keywords about what you do for a living, but you want it to be readable. You want the search engines to be able to understand it. You want the consumers to be able to understand it. And you want it to be compelling, because you want them to click through and see more about your business. That's extremely essential. Now, I want to do a just give me a thumbs up or whatever you would like to in the comments. I'm going to ask y'all a question. Who is putting up Google My Business post on their Google My Business listing right now? Who's doing that? Putting up a Google My Business post. Awesome. Keisha, oh, it's awesome to see you on here. Carrie, awesome, awesome. So it's very important that you put Google My Business posts up and on a regular basis. Okay. You want to put them up on a regular, ongoing basis. And you also want to make sure you put a call to action. So such as this one is a learn more. So it actually takes them to the business's website. You can have a call CTA. You can put up your Google My Business post as an event, like for this event, for example. I didn't look and see if they put this up on a Google My Business listing or not. But you want to put up your Google My Business post. More is always better with a Google My Business post. It doesn't necessarily need to be every week if you don't have the time or the budget to do that, if you have a team that you've hired to do it for you, but more is always better. It also helps your Google My Business listing to actually surface for specific queries that somebody would search in search result. For example, if somebody searched why reputation manage or importance of reputation management, this Google My Business listing might actually surface because if they have a GMB post about reputation management. So more is always better. I'm not saying that I want you to put one up on a regular basis, like, every day, but at least once a week. And one thing I would highly encourage y'all to do is actually put tracking links. I don't have any examples of that for y'all today, but if you create a UTM tracking link on your Google My Business post, and link to the content placed on your website, then you can actually track and see if people are actually visiting your website from the Google My Business post to determine if they're valuable or not for you. So let's talk about a citation. A citation, as I mentioned earlier, it's any mention of a business online. It includes a business name, always, there wouldn't be a citation, address, phone number, and a website link. There's lots of different types of citations. Here's an example of a citation on Yelp. You're going to see that the Yelp has a place for COVID updates. And then very similarly, it actually has this attribute section that you can add to. Looks very similar to Google My Business. And it's very powerful. So here's an example of a citation that's more just mentioning the business's name and linking to the website. So this is also a citation. This is an interview on this website for Dr. Chaco here. But this is a citation also, and this actually links to his website. You want to have a mix of citations. You want to have citations that are, and I'm sorry, my mouth keeps getting ahead of me here. You want to have citations that mention your business name, and you want to have these kind of citations that actually just link to your website and they add authority also. So you want to have a mix of citations. Here's another example of a citation. This is WebMD. This is very important because this gentleman's a doctor. There's lots of different kinds of directories that you can actually list your business on, such as a vertical directory. So WebMD would be a vertical directory because it's specific to doctor. I saw earlier somebody mentioned they were in home services. So home services, there's actually vertical directories for home service businesses you want to be in. I didn't remember if I saw any lawyers or anybody in the legal industry on here. There's vertical directories for legal. So you would want to have your business listed on those vertical directories in addition to, or niche directories, we could call them that also. Or in addition to the standard directories like Hot Frog, Merchant Circle, those kind of things. Let's talk about why NAP consistency is important. So when I say NAP consistency, I'm talking about your business name, address, and phone number. And I'm talking about it being consistent across all of these different kinds of directories. It's really extremely powerful. So this is a citation report that Bright Local conducted. They conduct it on a regular basis. I think they do it about every 2 years. I think this one might be from 2019, but might be 2020. I didn't put the year on here, but basically when they did this survey, it said 80% of consumers lose trust in a business if they see incorrect or inconsistent contact details online. So if your business information is not consistent on the web, then they're not going to trust you as much as they are the competition that has a consistent address. They actually say that if they can't find a local business, and they're just going to give up looking for the business. I mean, that is powerful. They're just going to stop looking for your business. And then here's another one that says 68% of consumers will actually stop using a business if they find inconsistent information on local directories. So when I'm talking about directories, just again, whenever I want y'all to visualize, you've got your smartphone out and you search for Bob's Widget Store. Okay, I'm just making up an example here. And you find you have a whole bunch of instances of Bob Widget Store. You see a Yelp listing, you see a Hot Frog listing, you see a Judy's Book, you see a Merchant Circle, and 2 of them have the right address. 3 of them are wrong. And the Google My Business listing says something completely different. Well, how would you know which one is the right address? You've got your phone, you're trying to get directions. Which one do you click on to go to the right address? That's an example of directories and how that data being inconsistent causes consumers to lose trust in your business. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about listings here. So this is an example of a report. And by the way, this report, I have an online visibility report that any of y'all can run for free. It's on my website. You can go in and you can run a free online visibility report, and you can see if the information about your business is consistent online. These are the local profiles, which it'll pull for you, which is Google, Bing, and Yelp. While we've talked mostly about Google My Business today, it is also important that you have actually created a Google My Business listing on Bing and claimed it, because there is a percentage of the market that still uses Bing. And it's the default browser on a lot of devices still. And then that you've actually claimed your Yelp listing and optimized it. These are examples of listings that are really important. And you can see here, this business has 100% consistency online. Here's an example of some directories. And again, this is a screenshot from my reporting tool for the listing distribution I do for my clients. As you can see, the baseline report, which is if y'all went and run a Freeline report, that's what y'all be establishing for your business as a baseline. This business's information was not consistent in the baseline. Once we started doing listing distribution for them, now it is consistent across the board. So this is what you want to see. You want to see positives. You don't want to see all these negative X's. Here's an example from another local visibility reporting tool that one of my partners, Reputation Sensei, uses. And you can see here, it's very important. And this reporting tool gives you an example of how consistent your business is on desktop, mobile, and Google Maps. It also tells you your average position and your rank. And so, for example, this business, and this is for their specific keywords, they're ranking in the 2nd position in just organic search for these keywords: dermatology near me, dermatology Buckhead, and then this is on the Google mobile version where they're ranking. Now, the rankings are going to be different on desktop versus mobile, not always, but in some cases. And this is the actual local pack right here, as you can see. This is local. That's the map, again, that I mentioned with the 3 listings that fall underneath it. Sometimes you'll see an ad. I want to check, because I have somebody here saying they can't see my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
We can see you.
Okay, great,
Yes.
wonderful. Okay. And then Google Maps. This is the actual map. So when somebody actually goes straight to Google Maps, so they don't run an organic search, that's what that looks like. So I always tell people, I always like them to run a little self-assessment on their business. So is your business listed in the local pack? That's one thing you want to do. So you need to search for your business's products on Google and see if your business is even showing up and in what position it's showing up. Is your business ratings higher or lower than the competition? So here we're talking about your review ratings. Or do you have a 4.7? Do you have a 2.0? Because if you have lower ratings, then we've got a problem. Okay, you want to be higher than the competition. And if you are lower, then you need to put a plan into place to get them higher. And then is your website on the first page of search? So I'm talking about those 10 blue links in organic search. Is your website even showing up? Are you there? How far back do you have to click going next to actually find your website? If you're past the first page, a lot of times people aren't even going to visit your website unless they're just not finding what they want in the first page of search. Actually people will say, if you're not on the first page, you might as well not be there at all. So make sure your business is showing up for your products and services on the first page of search. And if it's not, then you need to put a plan into place to make that happen. So let's talk about the impact of reviews on search. In fact, and I've already talked about consumer trust, but 90% of users say that they use a local business that has 4-star ratings or higher. If they have a 3-star rating, 72%. My mouse is being so stubborn here today. I'm sorry about that, y'all. 72% if you have 3 stars or lower. 20% of businesses say if they have a 2-star rating or lower, then they'll use them. And then 13% say if the business has a 1-star rating. If Google doesn't trust your business, the fact is, why would anybody else do it? Things you might not realize are reviews impact your placement in search results. They impact click through to your business website. They impact trust. They're extremely powerful. If you don't have reviews on your Google My Business listing, that is something immediately that you have to correct. I have a business right now that their website is optimized extremely, extremely well. And so they can rank in organic search for specific long tail keyword searches. However, their business is not showing up in the local pack at all until I want to say 5 entries down. And it's because they have 5 reviews. Okay. All their competition has a bunch of reviews above them. Now, that is a big issue, and it's something that you have to look at if you want to get visibility in the local pack for your business. And this is extremely important for doctors, lawyers, service-based businesses, those kind of businesses. You've got to have visibility in the local pack. So here's an example of search results behavior. This is an example of a search for best dermatologist in Tallahassee. Now, I want you to notice that when somebody searches best, and a lot of times consumers, when they're looking for a local business, especially a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, they're going to stick the word best in front of that search. Well, when that happens, Google only shows businesses that have a 4-star rating or higher in that search query. Okay. So I want y'all to test, not right now, but later I want y'all to test. I want you to search for best in your product or services in search and see who comes up above you, because those are the people that y'all have to outrank. And so here's an example of that. Again, it automatically defaults to 4-star rating. So I want to give y'all some more stats about the fact to show y'all how important it is they all have positive reviews. Because the fact is Google is picky, but so are consumers. So most people say that the reviews of a business need to be within the last 2 weeks. 40% of people actually say that they'll do business with that business if they have to be within 2 weeks. 30% say within a month, they'll go ahead and do business with that business. And then 70% of people only care about reviews that are written in the past 30 days. So if you haven't gotten a review on your Google My Business listing in 2 or 3 months or 6 months or 5 months or whatever, then y'all seriously have an issue that y'all need to look at. And this relates to your Google My Business listing. Your Yelp listing has a place for reviews. Other sites have it also, but it's very important that y'all study your reviews, as they're a really big factor with your placement in local search. So let's talk about your website's role in placement in search. So here's an example of Dr. Chaco. And again, he is showing up for allergists in Alpharetta, Georgia, in the 2nd position in the local pack. By the way, I mentioned the local pack, try to give y'all a visual earlier. Here's a screenshot showing y'all what that local pack looks like. Now, also, his business is actually showing up in organic search 2 entries below that for this search also. So because he has high-star ratings and he's showing up in the local pack, the optimization of his website and the fact that he actually is supporting on his Google My Business listing what his website says helps his business to show up organically on the first page of search also. So let's dig into your website optimization a little bit more here. So This is an example of an attorney, Lucia Evans Law, and I want you to see here, this is called a mention. Their website mentions probate litigation. That is why their Google My Business listing is actually showing in the local pack for this search, because their website actually mentions probate litigation. So it's very important that the content that you have on your website is also well optimized. Okay, notice the URL here for this page. It actually supports the keywords also. This is a URI is what a lot of people call it, because the last part of it, litigation and probate, is a URI. This is a clear defined site structure to help Google understand when they comb or index the website's content that they offer this service. They offer litigation and it's specific to probate. I want y'all to notice that here, okay? Now, let's show you an example of their page title. This is an example of the page title for this page that's showing up, Collin County Probate Litigation Law Firm. So this also works in conjunction with their Google My Business listing actually surfacing for this search query. And then let's dig in and look at on page. Now, guys, I know I'm really getting really geeky here right now. And the objective of me presenting this information to you today is to be able to digest that how important it is for your website to be optimized for search, and dig in deeper and see what you can do to actually really optimize your site further yourself. And if you don't understand it, then maybe it's time that you find a team, or you have a business partner or somebody that works for you that understands it so that they can actually do this. I'm assuming today I have a lot of business owners on this call. So let's look at that a little bit. So here is this page that I was giving you an example of earlier. And we're going to talk about their on-page optimization here for this page. So their heading, it supports probate litigation. Now, I showed you their URI and their page title earlier. So you can actually have your H1, that's what it's called when it's your heading. You can actually use an H1 that is the same as your actual page title, which you display in search results. But sometimes they can be different and you might want to make them different. So here's an example of how their H1 supports that keyword query that is very helpful for Google to understand the content and to help this page surface in search results. This is a keyword that you want to always have supporting headlines, supporting whatever your products and services are. You want to have keyword optimization for that. So this is an example of integrating the keyword probate litigation. It's all about having local placement in the right places. Here's another keyword phrase. Now notice you don't want duplicate content, so you want to do them in different ways. So here's a keyword phrase that somebody might search to help this business surface in organic and desktop and local back. So here's an example further down of another keyword integration. It's very important that you understand the keywords that consumers are searching for your products and services. And a lot of times the way that you can do that is actually literally just go out and start running keyword searches and see what's starting to come up. You can also use Google Keyword Planner for that. There's also some pro tools that you can use, such as SEMrush, which can be a pretty costly tool. And I'm assuming a lot of y'all are small business owners, so y'all might not be ready to invest in SEMrush, but doing some keyword research will really help you to understand what keywords you need to have in your website content. Again, this is a long tail keyword phrase. So sometimes people are going to search long tail keywords, and that will help your content to show up more often. It's very important that when you optimize your content, you don't want to just focus in on probate or probate litigation. You want to have a combination of different keyword phrases. Long tail, include actual questions within your website content that people are actually asking. That's very important for helping your search content to rank in search for service pages, basically. That was an example of an actual service page I was showing you. Now, I want to show you a location page and the kind of optimization that you need on your website. So a location page, and I talked about this earlier, but is extremely important to help you show up in organic search. Like I showed you the example for the allergy doctor in Alpharetta, that was his location page. It was showing up in search for specific queries. This is going to be really important for those of you that have brick and mortar businesses, that you have optimization location pages that are well optimized. For those of you that actually go to the business to do your work, you would have service area pages instead, just to understand the difference. And a lot of times the location pages, you can have location pages on a site and then actual service area pages too, to really dig into your SEO and harness that even more. So let's look at this location page for Luce Evans Law. So I want you to notice they actually have location keywords here. Full service McKinney Law Firm. So when somebody's searching McKinney Law Firm in search, then they're likely going to show up in the local pack and in organic search for these kind of queries. So it's very important you have location specific keywords within your content. Here's an example of a map. So this is the actual embedded Google My Business listing on the actual location page. This is really, really great idea to do this. You might have a map with your name, address, and phone number showing on your location pages right now for your business. But if you can swap that out to actually embed your actual business GMB listing map on the page, then it makes it really easy for the people visiting your website to quickly go straight to your GMB listing and also see your reviews and actually click your review. So that's really, really powerful. You also want to have the business address written out on the page, the business hours, the phone number. Notice again, keyword searches. I'm going to show you all a couple of those here. Here's the NAP. I would like to say NAP, map, and then you want to have what's called local business schema. Now, I know I'm really getting really geeky right here. And a lot of times y'all are not necessarily going to be able to understand what that is, but local business schema is a markup language that you actually put on your location pages. That tells Google, hey, this is the address for this business. This is where they are located, and it helps your content to surface in maps. So you want to make sure you have all your keywords in the right places, but you also want to have local business schema on your website. There's other types of schema markup also that you can add. I'm not going to get into all of those necessarily today, but there's speakable schema, which is voice schema. There is review schema. There's video schema. There's FAQ schema. That's one of the things that we do on all of our client sites. We actually add on all of our service pages. We add 3 questions at the bottom that consumers are searching within the content. And then we wrap all of those pages in what's called FAQ schema. And that helps the business to surface in maps. And then here's some other examples of things that you want to include on your location page. You always want to have your main products and services on your location page and your service keywords throughout. Again, we see location keywords, we see your service keywords, personal injury, family law. We include as additional practice areas with links to click people through to the website. It's very important that when somebody visits your website that you're actually taking the users on a journey. And then that way it will help you to get them stay on your site longer versus click back to search results because they didn't find what they're looking for. You want to take your users on a journey. Internal linking is extremely important. Here's some examples of more keywords in here. Family law attorney and McKinney. You don't want your keywords to feel stuffed, but you definitely want to have them on the page. Here's an example of the questions and answers that I showed y'all earlier that you could wrap in FAQ schema. Again, notice we have supporting headlines here. We have closing headlines, again, with the keywords, the primary keywords that you're wanting to focus that piece of content on. This is an important on-page signal. You must have EAT within your Google My Business listing and within your website. Now, EAT is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And here's the link to those image credits and a complete post that y'all could go look at to actually read all about EAT and what that means. So Google, in their search quality evaluator rater guidelines, it directs them to look at expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness when they rate a business's content. Now, what I want y'all, challenge y'all to do is take EAT, integrate it within your website, but I also want y'all to integrate it within your Google My Business listing. I've actually been testing this out and it's extremely powerful. And the product descriptions, that's an example of EAT, right? That's adding authority to your Google My Business listing with keyword descriptions. And I've been testing this out, and the clients that I've really been leveraging, optimizing these listings on, their listings are starting to surface more and more, and they're getting more map and search views. Here's an example, and I know we're running out of time here, and so I'm right on track to end up. I wanted to tell y'all just really quickly some of the things that I do here. I've covered a lot of information today. I do website development, I do Google paid search, I do search engine optimization, which is all the content within your website, and then I also do local SEO, which is on-page and off-page optimization. As I promised, I was going to give all of y'all a bonus here. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and give y'all the link to this assessment so y'all can download this. I just posted it in the chat for y'all. But here's a link to actually take this self-assessment. And a lot of the things that I've discussed with you today, you can actually print out this worksheet and do these steps and evaluate your business and how they're doing online. I also gave y'all my website URL in case any of y'all would like to go run your free online visibility report and see if your business's data is consistent in all of the directories. And so that's it for me, Donna Lisa, and I'm ready for any questions that anybody has.
All right. I'm not sure if you want to stop sharing your screen so everybody can see you.
I'm absolutely fine with that. Hey, everyone, see my face again?
So I think the first question that I've got quite a bit of, the same question. We have a lot of people that have a home-based business. And they're curious as to how they can have Google My Business without putting their home address on the internet for everyone to find them.
So you can actually do that. Google used to not let you do that, by the way, but now you can actually create a Google My Business listing. It will require you to put in your business address in order to, or your home address to get a postcard. It's called a postcard verification, and you can get a postcard to verify your Google My Business listing, but you can actually mark on there that you're a service area business, and that way your address isn't visible on the web.
Awesome. And just really quick, yes, there will be, everyone will get a copy of the replay link. So
I know I covered a lot of information. I wanted to get a lot in there. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. No worries. So how do you get the best results for local when your address is your home address? So somebody, I guess a lot of people ask, should they use Dallas or?
So you actually have to put in your home address. Again, you can hide that from your Google My Business listing. And once it's verified, you can hide that. You can hide your address, but you actually have to put in your home address. You can actually put in what is considered service areas. So you can put in zip codes in cities for specific cities you service. However, there's been some tests, and it says that the service areas that you put in there don't actually impact your visibility in those service areas, but I still recommend you do that. If you are a home-based business, go ahead and put your service areas in. You can actually even put your service areas in if you do have a physical address. You can put in service areas there too, but you have to actually put in your actual address for the listing. So you can't really say, I'm going to stick Dallas in there. It just doesn't work that way with Google My Business.
Okay, great. And I think you mentioned this, but just really clear or really quick, how often should you post on Google?
You should put up a Google My Business post. I recommend once a week. I don't necessarily think you need it. I've actually seen people that put it up 2-3 times a week, even every day. It doesn't necessarily get you more visibility in Google to do that, but I would like to recommend that people put it up once a week. If that's not possible, you know, some people only put a Google My Business post up once a month. That is acceptable, but just keep in mind, the more often you put a Google My Business post up, the more likely your business will surface for specific keyword queries, because they actually that's considered a mention, and they'll actually use those mentions to help your listing surface.
Great. And then we had some people that were asking, like, how do they even get Google My Business?
So literally you go to, I'm trying to think here, because I haven't actually had to do that in a long time. I think it's just it's google.business if I'm correct. Let me look at that URL for y'all real fast. I'm going to bring that up. I think it's literally just google.business. Yeah, it's just google.business, and then it'll take you to create a Google My Business listing. And you don't actually pay for this, by the way. I know I didn't mention that in there, but Google My Business listings are completely free. I'll go ahead and drop the link to create a Google My Business listing in the chat for everybody. That way, those of you who would like to have it can have it. There
Okay,
it is.
great. And then earlier it was pretty early on in your presentation, Lisa, you were running some reports, and Elaine wanted to know what the link to run that report was.
So they can go to my website, roxdigital.com. I gave the link up earlier. I'll drop it in here again. They can go to my website, and it's literally on the homepage toward the very bottom, and it says like free visibility report.
Okay, great. Okay, this is a good question because I've always wondered this myself. Jane wanted to know, so if she searches her business, will her own listing appear before others, even though it may not for others? So like if I search Center for Women Entrepreneurs and it shows up at the top, is it going to show up the same for somebody else?
If you search Center for Women, well, it depends on the person's proximity to the address of the location. Google My Business is all about proximity. So if you searched, or anybody searched, for a specific business name and Google understands that's an actual entity name, then it's going to show up at the top no matter what. But it's very important to think about keywords. Yes, you're going to show up for your business name, but what you want to show up for is a specific keywords like women entrepreneur events, women, I'm trying to think of women's education, you know, just different kind. That's where you want to surface. You don't want to just surface for your business name, because that's called a my stupid knowledge panel. The knowledge panel obviously is going to show up your actual business name. What you want is for your business to show up for your actual keywords. So an example of that attorney that I was showing y'all, Lucci Evans Law, that's actually one of my clients, and their Google My Business listing, when I started working with them, their Google My Business listing was not optimized. And some of those screenshots were actually taken when I had not optimized their listing. So it was only using content from their website to help them place and search. We optimized their listing 100%. We launched a new website for them. And now when somebody searches probate litigation McKinney, they're the only listing that shows up.
Okay.
So that's how powerful it can be.
Oh, sorry. So we do have a question from Facebook from Cindy. She's wanting to know, how does it work when you're targeting several areas? And the example she gives is, it's a wedding venues all over DFW. So should we focus on just one, or make it more general, like serving Denton, Fort Worth, Dallas, and beyond?
So what you would want to do is you would actually create what's called service area pages, and you would create a service area page for each one of those cities that you want to target. You would want the main part of your website content to be optimized for the location that your business is actually in, and then you would create service area pages to target the other service areas, and you can mix it throughout. But the fact is people don't necessarily search that way. And so you want to create your content on your website in a way that people actually search.
Okay. Is there an easy link to send to colleagues to get them to give you a Google review?
So there actually is. Within Google My Business, you can set an actual username. You used to couldn't do that. You can set a username and then share that link with people. But you'll have to do it within your Google My Business listing.
Okay. Next question. I have a virtual learning center. I use my, okay, again, a lot of people are asking about the virtual address for Google My Business. And you've already addressed that, so we'll move on. Carrie wanted to know, she has pictures on her Google My Business of her inside and outside of her practice. But now she has a new location and she's added those photos. Should she take down the old photos or leave them up?
Leave them up. Yeah, leave them up. It doesn't hurt you to have them there. Yeah, you want to, the more images is better, because you actually get photo views in Google Maps. there's actually a section, and I didn't bring it up or have any screenshots of it, called Insights, but you can actually see how your Google My Business listing is performing for specific keyword queries through insights within your Google My Business listing. For those of you that have those, log into your listing and then click Insights.
Okay. Somebody wanted to know, what type of photos do you suggest for Google My Business?
Well, obviously, images of your actual business on the inside and the outside. You can even add a video if you want to get a 360 video tour. You can add videos. For me, we do a range of Google My Business listings images for our clients. We do images of their actual business, images of their team members, and then we do a lot of custom graphics, which are some that I showed y'all on the thumbnails that you were seeing for the products and services. We create thumbnails for the products and services. Those images can be used. One of my other clients, we actually create infographics, and then we slice up and dice the infographics that we put on their website, and we actually share those images on their Google My Business listing too, to help get more visibility for specific keyword queries.
Great. Marcia wanted to know, where do you go to find directories to list your business and how to link it to Google My Business?
So directories are not actually, you wouldn't link your directories to your Google My Business listing. A lot of times you want to put the link to your actual business website within those listings. And you could literally just search best directories. There's actually actually an article on Advice Local's website. I used to do and Tracy knows this, but I actually used to do the digital market, manage the brand for Advice Local. And so that's why I have a lot of their examples and I know their content real well. I actually still do a lot of their marketing, and they have an article on their website that you can actually go find. It just go to their site and click search site, and it's called Best Directories for 2019. And there's a whole article on that. And it'll give you a list of directories. But also if you go run that free online visibility report, it has a list of directories in there too.
Okay, great. When optimizing on your website, are only words picked up? What about logos and images?
Yes, you actually want to write image alts. I didn't talk about that as much today for the sake of time, but you actually want to optimize the URLs for all of the images. So whenever you upload an image to your site, before you upload it, you want to name it properly. You want to use hyphens, not underscores or spaces, actually, when you're naming your image. So a good image name would be example. I'll just give you an example here in the chat. Here's an example of one we might put on that attorney site, or McKinney probate law attorney. But this is an example of your image name. And then you want to write what's called an image alt for each one of the images that you upload on your website. Also, that helps you to surface an image search for Google. And so you would want to put in, like, so for example, an alt for this image might be best McKinney probate law attorney. And so you want to write an image alt also on your website and upload those.
Okay, so we had the same question twice, and I think they're both the same. So how can you find industry related keywords?
So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. Personally, it's called, I'm trying to think of the name of it. I was trying to think of it earlier so I could give it to y'all. It's about Google Keyword Planner. That is one place to get them. You can also, again, use SEMrush, which is a pro tool. We use that obviously at my agency because we're a bigger agency. They do have a free version, a free trial that y'all could always try to get some keywords for your industry. But you could use Google Keyword Planner, get a free account for SEMrush, and there's a browser extension. I cannot think of the name of it right now. It's like, I want to say it's like Keyword Tool or something that you can actually use and install in the Chrome browser. And I was going to see if I could bring it up here and tell y'all what it is. I don't think I have it on this computer though. That's let's see if it syncs to my listing. And I do not have it on here. I can give Donna Lisa the name of it. I just cannot remember it right now. It's like, oh, that's it right there. Desi posted it. Keyword everywhere. Thank you, Desi. That's it. I like to use keyword everywhere. It also puts in, it also gives you questions that people are actually asking in search. They actually give you questions people are searching, and they give you some information free, and then you can actually buy credits and use the pro version of it. I honestly, because I have SEM Rush, I just use the free version of keywords everywhere, because I use SEM Rush for most of my keyword data.
And then that's all the questions I have. Does anybody have any additional questions they want to pop in the chat real quick?
While we're waiting a second for them to do that, another thing I wanted to mention is another place to figure out what your keyword data is really powerful is actually looking at your Google Search Console data, which is how people are currently getting to your website, and seeing what your position is in Google Search Console for some of those queries. And also it's a good way to know if you're ranking for queries that aren't as powerful for you. Like, you know, being on the first page to search for widgets when you sell bobbins instead does not help you, right? You want to be there for bobbins, you know? And so you want to really look at how people are finding your site, and you can do that through Google Search Console. And that is a free tool also. Google My Business, Google Search Console, even Keyword Planner, they have, you know, you have to have an account and stuff to get to use Google Keyword Planner nowadays. You can't access it for free as much. There's also Google Trends, which is very helpful. You can use that too.
So I had one more question. Dee Dee wanted to know, she doesn't know much about Instagram. She's on Facebook and has a website. What do you think about a biz not utilizing all of social media?
Well, you don't necessarily need to be on all platforms. And actually, I started, and this is when Tracy met me. My roots were in social media in 2009. So I have quite a bit of opinions on social media. The fact is you don't want to have a profile on all platforms if you're doing a bad job managing them. So you want to create them on the platforms that, one, your audience is there, and two, that you're actually managing and that you're active there and you're monitoring it. So it is important that you actually have, if possible, a Facebook and an Instagram, a Twitter, and those kind of things within your established, because Google My Business actually will pick those up as part of your knowledge graph for your business, and it helps add more authority. So it's good if you have them, but don't create an account just for the sake of creating one. Only create one if you're actually using it.
And I have one more question, and then this will be the last one. Shay wanted to ask if it would be difficult to rank on the first page if you are an online business, since you don't have a specific location.
It really depends on what kind of products and services that you're offering. Not necessarily. You would have to work really hard to make sure you're sending all the right signals from other areas. So for example, make sure you're doing really great on your Google My Business. Make sure your social media platforms are sending the right signals. Make sure your website content is optimized properly, and make sure that you're blogging on a regular basis. And yeah, you could rank. I mean, for example, LissaDuty.com, my social media business that I started in 2009. I rank for, I don't know if I do now, but because I don't focus on doing this as much anymore, but I ranked for Dallas Social Media Coach, and I live 60 miles from Dallas, and I did not have an address on my website. And I did not have a Google My Business listing either. But I did a really good job on social, and I had a really good website.
Yeah, I think they all work together, and it's figuring out which ones best serve you and your customers is, I think, instead of trying to do all of it, do some of it really well, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But you definitely want to have a Google My Business listing.
Right.
Back then, you couldn't have a Google My Business listing if you had a brick and mortar location, unless you had one.
Right. Lisa, will you put your contact information in the chat? We have a couple people asking about that as well. And then we're going to hand it back to Tracy.
Wow, Lisa, what a great job. You know, I've always been a fan, but there is just so much information. And I'm for sure some of this is may even seem like a foreign language with everything that you're doing. But I mean, they just really need to know as they go along how accessing all of this can help. Um, so for those who want to save the chat, I know a lot of people don't know how to do that. In the chat box, across from file at the bottom, there are 3 dots. You can press on that and save the chat. Again, Lisa, that was wonderful. It was such great information, and it's forever changing. So it's nice to get updates on some things that are new and are happening. I know Google My Business was helpful to me as well. So, and we also help our clients with that as well. So again, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks everybody for having me.
You bet. So next month, our next June Rise is going to be on May 11th, and it's going to be resources available with Women's Business Council Southwest, and they help you get your business certified, woman-owned, et cetera. So we'd love to have all of you join us for that. Donna Lisa, when is our next quarterly? I don't have that.
So our next quarterly is June 24th, and it's all about trademarks and patents. Yes. And the Women Rise is June 7th, not May 11th. So
oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading it from our site.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
That didn't make much sense. So thank you everyone for being here. We sure enjoyed having you. Was there anything else, Donna Lisa?
Yep, I'm launching our poll right now.
Okay.
If you guys will take a few minutes and give us your feedback, we would appreciate that very much. And then let me stop recording